The repair work wrapped up this afternoon, but that does not mean that residents that were impacted by the water main break are out of the woods yet. None of the women sustained any physical injuries, but they experienced no doubt an unnerving one. Residents say it almost feels like there are two versions of Coney Island. There's the touristy part that feels safe, and then there's this part. Talk about a chaotic and complicated scene. This started with officers responding to a call that a car was being broken into. Usually the way it works with knockoff clothing is you know they're fake because they tend to be cheaper, even though they look like the real thing. Well, not in this case. In Rutherford, New Jersey, Amy Yensi, Pix 11 News. Hi there, Tamsin and Corey. I spoke to the brother-in-law of Esvin Vasquez. He says he was a nice guy, hard worker, came to this country to help his family back home, had no enemies, no prior incidents with the law or anything like that. They just don't understand why anyone would want to hurt him or worse, kill him and leave him out to die on the side of the street. Even people that use the e-scooters and are happy to see them stay in the Bronx say they wish the city did more to regulate how they're used and where they're parked.
Él sabía nadar.
Noel Torres says his nephew Berman Gutierrez knew how to swim, and that gives him hope that he will turn up somewhere alive. But each hour without any sign of him makes it harder to keep the faith. Torres says he got a call just before 1 a.m. from a frantic friend of the 25-year-old saying he was with friends at Rockaway Beach when he disappeared in the water.
Me llamaron nada más que me dijeron que
He says they called me saying that he drowned, and I don't know why they told me that because there hasn't been a body found.
cuerpo no hay acá, o sea.
Police say a female witness at the scene near Beach 13th Street told emergency crews that their group got out of the water because of the current. Gutierrez was last seen yelling out for help. The NYPD aviation and harbor units searched the waters through the night, and divers turned up empty on their search in the morning. The swimmer's family watched the search in anguish, hoping for at least a sign of him. Tamsin and Corey, the reason why it's concerning is because there are so many people out here on the street watching this entire thing unfold. It's taken them a long time, but as you can see, they've started the process of slowly removing the dogs, and they're moving a crate right now and putting it down. A dog is in that crate right now. We're told as many as 14 dogs and puppies were living in that house, and they will be transferred to animal control. I can hear them barking right now. The victims all have bite marks on their bodies, but are thankfully expected to survive this attack. According to the NYPD, they got a call about vicious dogs outside of 250 York Avenue just before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when they got here, there were 8 pit bulls still trying to bite people that were outside. Moments later, someone came and put them back in the house, but by then, a 2-year-old baby girl, a 13-year-old girl, and a 19-year-old woman had already been attacked, bitten in the legs. The toddler was also bitten in her left side, in her arm. They were all rushed to Richmond University Medical Center, and as I said, are expected to recover. Witnesses say the dogs got out of the house via a window that was left open and allegedly were roaming around the neighborhood unattended.
Dogs running in the middle of the street, like running back into the house. And then I seen a child bleeding on her arm.
And thankfully, the people that were attacked are expected to recover. But as you can see, an ongoing situation here on Staten Island. I'm Amy Yensi. Back to you.
So generally when you go into a place, it's very industry specific to that place, but this has such a wide variety of appeal to a wide audience.
Gerard Tromboli has been an auctioneer who has been at the helm of close to 2,000 sales, but says this one is the most unique. The Carlton, a famed restaurant and event venue in Long Island that served the likes of former Presidents Clinton and Bush, hosted its final event last week. And now all of its fancy decor items and professional-grade supplies are up for grabs.
There's crystal Swarovski chandeliers, Murano imported chandeliers that back when this place was built were over $25,000 per piece.
The building sits on 26 rolling acres and is nestled in Eisenhower Park. Nassau County leases out the space, but the owners of the Carlton did not renew their lease after 27 years. While open, the venue hosted many celebrations and was part of many memories. That's why, for some shoppers, it's not about the price tag. These items have a sentimental value.
That's the whole idea, is the sentiment behind it, is to have a little something from the venue. My dad did a little plumbing and electrical here and planted quite a few trees in the park.
We reached out to the new leaseholders to ask what the Carlton will be replaced by, but did not get a response. Because of its high-end, classic decor, the auction will allow buyers to grab luxury items for a fraction of the cost. And almost every item has no minimum bid, including this coveted king table with unique carved chairs. Starting at 10 a.m., shoppers can come into the venue and peruse what's available, then at noon start to bid. Everything with a tag will be sold.
Bueno, nosotros llegamos a Texas.
Asael Gonzalez entered the U.S. by crossing the Texas border.
Allá en Venezuela muchos decidimos venir no tanto como por la economía y tanto por las cosas malas.
He says the economy in Venezuela is very bad, and he barely made enough money to feed his family. Leaving seemed like their only chance at a future.
Terrible, terrible. Se pasa cosas feas, muertos, muchas cosas horribles.
He says the journey was terrible and some migrants died along the way. ¿Cuántos años tienes? 5. With no money, he says the only option for him, wife Braylis, and their 5-year-old son Omar was to board a bus to New York. They were dropped off at the Staten Island Inn last week, along with dozens of other migrant families staying there. Last week, Mayor Eric Adams declared a state of emergency as border states continue to bus migrants across the country. In recent weeks, migrants have flooded city shelters and human services systems.
Lo poquito que ponen ahí, uno lo agarra y uno para poder vestirnos porque.
She says a few people are dropping off clothing donations, which are coming in handy since they arrived with just the shirts on their backs.
You know, nobody's very supportive of the border situation. It should be under control. You know, but these people care about human beings, and they also care about their own children, their own businesses.
The migrant family we spoke with says that they were split up from other relatives after they crossed the border. The family members were sent to different parts of the country. Their goal and hope is to reunite with those relatives and start a new life here in the U.S. On Staten Island, Amy Yensi, Pix 11 News.